Hi there, welcome. Let's see if this is working. Let me just check. Yes, okay, perfect. Right, we are live, and that's all good. So, the reading of the Effortless Way. One of the things as well that I wanted to add in here is that just this morning, I channeled through a message about the whole earning online game. And if you're a coach, you're earning online. If you're a consultant and you're using online methods to attract clients, you're earning online. So earning online is it's not just like selling a digital course or like some sort of product or something like that. It's also when you are using the online space to attract clients and customers and sales to your business, whether that's a service operated business or it is selling products and packages. So one of the things that came through around that is how, that the actual earning online is a game. And the game is energy mastery. And yet too many times what's tripping people up is they get caught up in the how, the mechanical, the physical, even though it's like a digital space, that's actual physical, it's mechanical action steps and strategies and systems and plans, whereas you can have the best plan that there is out there to make $1 million, but if you're not mastering energy, it's not going to work for you. And this is where you really want to switch. And that's part of what the Effortless Way is all about. You really want to switch from the mechanical to start using more of your power, to start mastering, molding that energy into the physical. So it all starts with creation first. And I think that's perfect for what the Effortless Way is looking to unlock in you. So remember that as you're reading this and going through this, more and more knowing will be unleashed in you at the same time, knowing in your power. So let's start with this. The principle of least action governs everything in physics, from the path of a planet to the path of a pulse of light. Least action is the minimum of energy multiplied by the minimum of time. Therefore, in moving from your present state, which is your present results, your present reality, what currently is, to the state desired, and that means the results that you want, the results you want from your business, your life, your friendships, whatever that is, the reality that you do want to be, you must use the minimum of energy, which means that you're using your power and not force. And you take the shortest possible time. Now, you take the shortest possible time when you use your power, because you could spend an hour doing an action step, but because you're using your power over force, that hour will be the equivalent of, let's say, about 4 hours worth of action. So you take less time. Your journey from one state of consciousness to another is a psychological one. So to make the journey, you must employ the psychological equivalent of least action. Now, for me, like what I would actually say is an energetic one. So let's put that in there. I believe that like this document, in the time that it was actually created, there were certain words that they would have to use for it to be more accepted in the world back then. And our world has evolved. More and more people are more awake and knowing. Still not enough people though, but there's a larger portion of people that are awake. So in actual fact, you know, like that right there, energy. And that is the equivalent of least action. And the psychological or the energy equivalent is mere assumption. It's what you are choosing to know be true for you. What are you choosing to know be true for you? Now, the day that you fully realize the power of assumption and you discover that it works in complete conformity with this principle, and this is what I say for you to first even set that intention to master the art of the effortless way and using your power instead of force. You're always going into creation instead of action first. Now, action is important, but it all starts with creation first. It works by means of attention minus effort. Thus, with least action through an assumption, you hurry without haste and you reach your goal without effort. So in other words, you will start to move, and you can move at a fast pace, but it doesn't feel effort. Because it's aligned action, it doesn't feel like effort. Sometimes I could work if I chose to, and it's not very often that I even like need to, or this comes to me, but I could work, let's say 8 hours a day, and I don't even realize it's been 8 hours because it just didn't feel like effort. And that's very rare that I even have to do that. But if I've had this massive download and I'm just like, it just comes to me and I'm just moved into action. It's like spirit's moving through me. I'm not presently here. Like, I have to do this. I've got to work. And I'm very blessed to say that what I've actually created makes it easier for people to earn online. The hard part is you making sure that you do this, that you use your power. That's the part right there. So with least action through an assumption, you hurry without haste and you reach your goal without effort. And it is excluded from view because you can only see the contents of your own consciousness. So you can't see what you have created because at the present moment, you can only see like this. I don't know, let's just, if you picture in your mind, I can see this in my mind, but let's picture there is a circle around you. And that is your current physical reality. And then beyond that, there's another circle with your energetic reality. So the first circle is your own consciousness. That's all that you see, but it doesn't mean to say that that's all there is. And the function of an assumption, that right there, that calls back what you can't see and brings it into that inner circle, the consciousness. It brings it into the physical to restore full vision. So you will see it in your physical reality. And it is not the world, but your assumptions that change. So this is when you take your power back. You've been given your power to the fear, to the doubts, to the circumstances that are outside of you. And this one I know very well because it used to be the biggest thing that would sabotage me. We give our power away, and we give it away to things that are outside of us. And yet when you start to use this is when you take your power back from where you have placed it, and you then choose to make a new assumption. You then choose, well, what do I want to be my result desired? What do I want from this? What would I love from this? So it's not the world that actually changes, but it's your assumptions. Your choices change. An assumption brings the invisible into sight, and it's nothing more nor less than seeing with the eye of God, which is the imagination. It's nothing more nor less. It's actually that simple. This always stands out to me. Like it's in plain sight there. What he is saying is that's how simple it is. Use your imagination. Like that's one of the biggest parts of it. Now I know, like, one of the things is people aren't consistent with it. People have got a lot of shadow that's going on, and it makes it a little bit harder to do this. Right? I totally understand that. I know that journey. I want you to know that you can. And you'll get better and better at it. You're building a muscle again. You've been asleep and caught up in the illusion and the shadows for so long. And sometimes it doesn't happen overnight. So do you know what? Every day, just choose that you're going to get better and better and better at it. So when we go back to the first paragraph, the principle of least action governs everything in physics, from the path of a planet to the path of a pulse of light. Least action is the minimum of energy. So you're using power over force multiplied by the minimum of time. So it takes less time to receive and do a lot because you're using power over force. Therefore, in moving from your present state, present reality, present circumstances, present results to that state desired, what you truly do want to be, you must use the minimum of energy, you must use your power and take the shortest possible time. Your journey from one state of consciousness to another is an energetic one. It's a psychological one. It's an energy game. It's all energy. Everything is energy. So to make that journey, you must employ the psychological equivalent of least action. Use your power first. And the psychological equivalent is mere assumption. So what do you want? Think of one key area right now in your life that you want to transform. One area. I'm not going to tell you to look at 10 different areas or anything like that. Think of just one right now. One key area. What have you been assuming to be true about that? And what do you now want? Take your power back and create a new assumption. You choose what you assume to be true. So what do you choose to be the end result now in that situation? And the day that you fully realize the power of assumption, which is the purpose of what we're talking about throughout these videos, because it does help you start to build more belief in this, and the knowing, it unlocks your knowing. You discover that it works in complete conformity with this principle. It works by means of attention minus effort. Attention minus effort. Where are you giving your attention to? Thus, with least action through an assumption, you hurry without haste. The actions that you take are effortless. And you reach your goal without that hard hustle work, because creation is already finished and what you desire already exists. It's only excluded from view because you can only physically see the contents of your own consciousness. You can only see what is in that inner circle right now. But the function of that assumption, when you start choosing to take your power back, you're choosing where you're now going to bring your attention to, what you choose to assume to be true for you. You call back the excluded, which is what you have created. You call that and you restore it to full vision. So you actually see it in it becomes your present reality. It becomes your own consciousness. You bring it into that inner circle. where you can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch it. And it is not the world that actually changes, but your assumptions that change. So an assumption brings what you cannot see into sight. And it's nothing more nor less than seeing with the eye of God, your imagination. So you use your imagination to picture it. For God seeth not as a man, for man looketh on the outward. So your supreme self, your supreme being, your godlike version of you sees not as a man sees, not as the human part of you sees. For the human part of you looks outside. And normally the human part of you will allow that to dictate, and it keeps you in a loop. But your supreme self looks in the heart, looks inside, looks into the creative powers. What do I want to create? And molds energy to matter. The heart is the primary organ of sense, hence the first cause of experience. What would you love to have, to be, to do? When you look on the heart, you are looking at your assumptions. And assumptions determine your experience. Watch your assumption with all diligence. What are you choosing to be true for you? For out of it are the issues of life. Assumptions have the power of objective realization. Every event in the visible world is the result of an assumption or idea in the unseen world. God, if people just start to get this, this is where you really, really start taking your power back. You take ownership of your power. That anything in the visible world is simply the result of an assumption, and you can take your power back now. What have you been assuming to be true? What have you been allowing to control your experience? And now choose. What are you now choosing to have for you? The present moment is all important, for it is only in the present moment that our assumptions can be controlled. Let go of the past. The future must become the present in your mind if you would wisely operate the law of assumption. The future becomes the present when you imagine you already are what you will be when your assumption is fulfilled. And be still with least action. And know that you are that which you desire to be, and the end of longing should be being. Translate your dream into being. Perpetual construction of future states without the consciousness of already being them. And what that means is picturing your desire without actually assuming the feeling, the emotion, not just, like really, really connect into that emotion of what it is like now that you have that result that you have chosen to be. This is what you now assume to be true for you. And how does that feel now that you've got that? Be it in the moment. How does it feel? Right? Really allow yourself to go there. Because when you don't, that's the fallacy and mirage of mankind. It is simply futile daydreaming. When you are doing this is like with visualization, it's not just lying there and going, la, 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 wish, I'm dreaming and that kind of thing. No, when you're visualizing, you're fully aware that you, in that moment, are being the creator. You are molding energy into matter. And you do that by picturing what you want and just use your imagination. Don't try and physically see it. Too many people get tripped up with this and they're like, oh, I've got to physically see it. Just use your imagination, and you will grow better and better and better at this. If it's been squashed when you were at school because you weren't allowed to imagine, you weren't allowed to daydream, you weren't allowed to do this kind of stuff, then of course you've got a block. But know that you will get better and better. If you can close your eyes and picture a strawberry, you can see the red. You know, that picture comes to your mind. You can see the seeds, you can see the green top on it. You're using your imagination. That's all it is. And so we apply the same thing for this, right? But just know that you might not get it perfect at the start, and that's okay. But how does it feel? Like, if you can just start thinking that, hang on a second, I've already got this. How does that make me feel? So full of pride. I'm just really, really happy that we've got this. God, I feel so free. This feels so magical. If you start plugging into that, and we can do exercises during our present state that also plugs us into those emotions, right? So that we feel it, even in the present reality. We can choose to be happy now. We can choose to be excited now. Because that's why we want things. It's really the feeling that we want to achieve. So with that, I mean, I could actually go into more on this. Yeah, because that is one of the things, you know, first of all, it's what I want you to really think of is, are you wanting what you're wanting simply because it's something that you would love to have? Do you feel it in your heart? When you think about it, is it like, you know what, this is what I would really love? Or are you wanting something because of someone else or some condition or something outside of you? You know, whenever we talk about you can create whatever you want simply because you want it, the thing that stops people is that they're trying to create something and it's not because of what they truly want. So they're going about it the wrong way. They're doing it because, well, that will keep this person happy. Well, then I'll be more lovable to that person. Well, then they will accept me. Well, then that will make me look more valuable. So that's where people get tripped up. Are you going for what you truly want? Because that's where this whole thing ties in. You can create whatever you want simply because you want it. There's no need to justify it, to explain it, simply because you want it. So you ask yourself, are you going for what you truly want? And then when that's a yes, well, bring your focus and attention to that. Not trying to change beliefs, not even trying to get rid of something. You're focused on what you truly want. And with that, I will see you again for the next one.